This is the beginning of it. We're going to open up the doors and opportunities for people to weigh in, to also to participate in ways not to try to have arguments, but to also to, present other things that are available for us to encourage one another and encourage our kids, and to embrace our black heritage, and embrace our everything about us that's black. And not that we want to walk around and act like we're better than anybody, but we definitely don't want to walk around acting as though everybody's better than us. We're not interested in racism, promoting that. We're not interested in division, but we do think that we're divided as a people. And I think that, and from that position, we're just not able to get anything done. One of the things that black people have to really get back to is to promoting education. We put a lot of emphasis on rappers and basketball players, so those things are great, and it's not to knock those avenues. Those things are important. There's ways for us to accomplish things, and those are platforms for us to, to talk about issues. But more important than that, we have to get back to where we're encouraging our kids to study, to read, to become real excellent in their behavior, to compete in the classroom with grades and again, with behavior. And I think one of the ways to really encourage that is to know your history. I don't think we know history, even in the church, we don't understand history. We don't understand where God was in a lot of situations. And as a result of that, we just bought into everything. And I think that we need to have a platform. We need to have a place where we can really enlighten people and even enlighten the church to what God has really called the church to be. And what God, in essence, what God has called us to be as Christians, as believers. And that's what this whole thing is all about. It ain't going to matter whether they're dark skinned or light skinned. What's going to matter is what's in their heart, what kind of people they are, what kind of people that child is, what kind of community they come from, what kind of parents they have. We have to really encourage our kids to look beyond color. We have to do that even though America struggles with that. We have to make sure they look beyond color and that they look at the contents of people's heart. That's a strong statement from Martin Luther King that's absolutely true. We're a people that's not going to get a fair play out here in this world, but we're going to get a fair play in the kingdom of God, and that's who we need to look to. And that's what I want to do for the next however long. I want to try to come into your living rooms, come in and have a place where you can be encouraged. This is not a situation where we're trying to divide, because I don't believe in division. I believe that God is a God of unity. So I do think that we need to come together as a people. And I say people, I mean all people, all colors of people, especially when you're talking about the church. I think it's really a time for us to just everybody come together, respect each other's differences. Black people are different from white people. There's no doubt about that. We have different cultures. But instead of trying to embrace somebody else's culture or that culture, trying to have rules and establish things that we become more like them, I think we have to more accept ourselves, number one, and then be in more of a position to embrace, other cultures and other people's belief differences and everything like that. But I think, first of all, we have to embrace ourselves. So this thing is going to be something that's going to have a lot of struggles. I'm certain about that, because we're going to be attacking and challenging churches. I really do believe that when the church say, come as you are, I think that's what the Lord is saying. Not just come dressed a certain way. I think it's saying come with your culture, with your differences. I don't think God is intimidated by those kinds of things. I don't think God has a problem with white culture, Hispanic culture, black culture. I don't think I have a problem with that. I think he created the differences that we have. I think that we have to be willing to embrace one another. I think the church should be the first to reflect that. One of the things I'm struggling with the church is the church seems to follow the world. We don't really seem to show real true leadership. We don't seem to have the desire, to lead anymore. We don't have the desire to even look at our own selves and realize that what we're walking into in a lot of churches is segregation, is discrimination. We've endured things that any other race of people wouldn't even be able to survive through, and we survived. But we need to take that and even embrace that. We need to embrace slavery because we endured it. And the way we endured slavery was not through Martin Luther King and the Malcolm X exclusively, but we also was able to achieve that through the grace of God. And we still need the Lord. We still need the church, but the church has to be have to be visionaries. And right now, the church just isn't that. I think one of the things that Jesus said in his words is that he came here not just for all the healing and all that, but he really came for the Gentiles. He came that all kinds of people could come together and worship him in spirit and truth. I think the church has to look at themselves and see if they're really reflecting that. A lot of black communities before this day and age were doing very well, were flourishing. They were good businessmen and women, you know, good family people. All of the things that we seem to have, you know, that we reflect right now as far as not being interested in being into our families, not being good fathers. I think all of those things are things that we've sort of bought into as a result of not knowing our real history. And that is, we have made good parents. You know, we were good enough parents to raise a lot of the white parents' kids, you know, when they were out working, making money. We were good enough workers to work on plantations, good enough workers to build a lot of the stuff in America. And now from that point to this, we're not good workers. I don't think that we're not good workers. I think that there's just not jobs that's available for us. I don't think people hire black people at the rate that they're willing to hire others. And I think those are some of the issues that we need to deal with, the issues that we need to at least talk about, so that our image isn't just this image of black people not wanting to participate in working and those kind of things like that. A lot of our young people, first of all, a lot of our older people, older black people have bought into it, and also young people are buying into it even more. The idea that black people are lazy people, that black people are not interested in working. And I don't really have a problem with those kinds of concepts being put out there from others, but I do have a problem when we as black people really buy into that and we begin to look at ourselves in a way that really separates us from our culture. One of the things about black people is we are black, you know, and we do have nappy hair, and we do have those things that God has given us. I think we really should embrace that. I think we need to embrace it. I think our kids need to embrace it. And I think that would help us to overcome the inferiority complex that we do have. I also believe that the church has played a role in by doing nothing and saying nothing, and just by every Sunday just basically dealing with scriptures without really any real truth to what they're saying, just reading scriptures going off like that. I really believe that the church has a responsibility to accept everybody that God has accepted, and regardless of color, and I think those people are the ones that become our family. So I do think that we have some issues, even more so than that. We do have issues in our community where our black kids now look at light as better or white as better, and that's just not the truth. That's not the truth, and those are some of the things we want to deal with here. I'm looking forward to coming into your living rooms and, you know, just doing stuff like this periodically, and hopefully people buy into it and not find it as a negative situation, not find it as something that we're trying to do to divide or to separate ourselves from anybody. But I do think that as a people, even in America, I think we have to come together as a people. You know, the truth is we all are all Americans. We all do need to come together and act as one. And if it doesn't happen in the world, it definitely has to happen in the church. And so unity really starts in the church. That's what Jesus Christ was about, and that's what we have to be about. So I know we bounced around all over the place trying to make sure that you guys and everybody was able to hear some of the dynamics. We are going to get more and more organized and be able to present something that is going to be first class, and people are going to really be excited about it, and I really think I'm going to be glad to hear. And again, thank y'all for letting us come into your living room. And remember, this is a truth project.